Back live with Andrew Bolt.
Labor and the Liberals spent most of today arguing about same-sex marriage rather than our economy, your jobs, cost of living. But there was one moment of light when Bill Shorten was asked the question on Channel 9 about Labor's shocking record of giving us budget deficits, all that red ink.
How old were you when Labor last delivered a surplus?
I guess I was an adult.
Do you know how old you were?
I would have been in my 20s.
It's in fact 25 years since Labor last gave us a budget surplus, and Labor now promises, and I mean promises, it won't even try to give us one for another 6. That's incredible, 31 years in all. Joining me is former Liberal Minister and Speaker Bronwyn Bishop and former Labor campaign guru Bruce Hawker. Bruce, that answer looks so bad. I mean, why can't your guys stop spending?
Well, why do we still have a AAA rating since 2003, Andrew? I mean, you spend money in order to provide services.
We're spending too much.
You spend money in order to provide services, and I think Labor's always going to have a redder bottom line than the Liberals because they do spend more on health, education, infrastructure, you know, the big things which are about keeping the country going. I'm not surprised about that, but by the same token, you know, the deficit's blown out under this government. It's $100 billion more in debt than we had when Rudd was in office. These aren't good numbers for the Liberals if you want to start judging people on those sort of standards.
31 years. Bronwyn. But Bronwyn, to pick up a little bit on that, look, the Liberals, though, it's not 31 years, they haven't delivered a surplus for 3 years and promise not to deliver one for another 6. That's 9 years in all of deficits before they turn a surplus again. I mean, that's got to disappoint you as a Liberal. You've been a financial hawk. You don't like this sort of stuff.
No, I don't. I'd like us to see us live within our means. And, of course, when Labor took over in 2007, we not only were free of debt, we had money in the bank, but it was all gone almost in the blink of an eye. And it's the same old tune. It's like a revolving door. We get things right, or the Liberal Party gets things right and gets it firmly secure, and then in comes Labor and people think everything's going to be fine. And, of course, it isn't. They spend, and then we have another incoming government, a Conservative government, and it has to clean up the mess again. Now, I think when John Howard and Peter Costello were elected, it took them quite a few years to clean up the debt that was left to them then. And I think it is tougher now.
No, they went on the first budget, Bronwyn. They went on the very first budget, bang, all the heavy lifting, and they sort of cruised from there. But it was a little easier in one respect that Peter Costello's now going to ring me and abuse me. A little easier because they had a mining boom. Yeah. But anyway...
And they, by the way, and also, hang on, and nor did they have a global financial crisis, indeed. Something which Bronwyn conveniently forgets. You know, the second biggest financial crisis we've had in the 20th century.
There was
it was nothing compared to the global financial crisis. Everyone knows that. And you just pretend that didn't happen.
Better.
It happened, and Labor dealt with it. And what happened? We did not go into recession.
Oh, come on.
We did not go into recession.
And
what would have happened under the other mob? They would have driven us into recession. You know that that's the truth, Bronwyn.
No,
you know it's the truth.
Well, the pink bats in the roof. I mean, it was just a chaotic period. Pink bats, $900 checks, building the education revolution, building buildings that people didn't want. It was an absolute squandering of money.
And an ongoing AAA rating and a recession that never happened under Labor. I think that's something to be pretty proud of.
No, but Bruce, the recession... Sorry, Bronwyn, you go ahead.
I was saying the definition of recession is 2 quarters of negative growth. Now, we were one additional shipment of coal sold to Japan away from having that second quarter of negative growth.
And it did not happen.
Because
that's a nice measure. I like that measure. But
it did not happen.
Bronwyn, I'm totally on Bronwyn's side on Labor's mad spending habits. But Bruce, I'm going to give you a free kick here. But the question's to Bronwyn. The curtain division of the Liberals, right? Julie Bishop's the Foreign Minister, Deputy Liberal leader's
and a very
own
fine
division
one too.
Has passed the motion condemning this fine division, condemning the big superannuation tax grab promised by the Liberals. Do you think the Liberals are going to have to change this policy after the election?
No. What I see is that, as I understand it, there was an ideas night that was held in the division, and the ideas came up where they were concerned about the one, particularly I think the $1.6 million cap for the size of your accumulation fund. I think the thing is that Julia has said, I think, if I'm correct, that she will sit down and have discussions with them individually about the concerns that they have. Because there is a bit of confusion out there when it said that the superannuation can be 1.6 million. It is, for a couple, 3.2 million. So a lot of people think, oh, it's only 1.6 for a couple. So there are a lot of things in detail that do need to be discussed.
Yeah, well, I suspect that a lot of these people of this fine division actually understand the policy only too well, don't you think, Bruce?
I think it's a fairly wealthy division. Yes, I think that's true. And of course, it does only affect 4% of the population. 96% will be either better off or not affected. I think that's fair.
Maybe the division should have kept, the good ideas to go out and having a cake stall or something like that. I suspect that all they've really done is cause problems for poor Julie Bishop at this very difficult time. And I think, though, that it does...
quite able to handle it, I think.
It does reflect an anxiety that's out there amongst a lot of traditional Liberal voters who are asking the question, well, what is this Liberal government doing to us? They're meant to be looking after our interests, and they're not.
That's right.
And that causes
torching
friction.
the base. But listen, before... I can't get away, I can't let the clock run out too far, because Bronwyn, I saw you on TV a couple of times saying you really wanted to write a reply on this show about something I said. I have no idea how I offended you, but you've got the floor.
Well, Andrew, I've worn a touch of red tonight in memory of your socialist beginnings, and you said you didn't have any. But of course you worked for Animals, one of the most socialist organisations, the Media Liaison Service. I think you asked your friend Gary Gray to give you a job in Animals and go out and sell socialism.
I did.
Now, I've been listening to you a lot.
Socialism. Bob Hawke was not a socialist.
Indeed, he is a socialist, because it was socialist policies, and you were out there selling socialism. Now, I've been listening to you a lot, and you've been doing a lot to, in my view, destroy the Liberal Party. So I want to know, when did you stop selling socialism, when you suggest that it would be better if Labor wins?
Oh, that's only because I want Conservatives like you, Bronwyn, to come back. That's my secret plan. You forgot the other bit. It would be better for, in 3 years, a more conservative Liberal Party to come back and clean up the joint. Bruce, defend me here.
I think you could get a job back in Animals.
Okay,
I think that sounds like you're going back to your roots
just say
and
one
selling
thing.
socialism again. And I think maybe we should have an apology, maybe to me or to the other people who might feel damaged.
I think anybody can change their mind, Andrew. You're allowed to change your mind. Bronwyn's allowed to change hers. She used to be a big fan of Tony Abbott.
I'm still a friend of Tony Abbott.
Big fan of Tony Abbott. Not likely.
Well, Bronwyn?
Well, I said...
Well, there you go. I look forward to the kiss and make-up with Tony Abbott, Bronwyn. Quickly, only 10 seconds left. Bronwyn, in a couple of words, who's going to win?
I believe that the Turnbull government will win, and win quite comfortably.
Bye.
Bye?
Right.
How many seats? Bye-bye.
How many seats?
Well, I think there will be a few changing hands, but I said comfortably, and I mean
Bruce,
comfortably.
I'm sorry, I've got to go. Comfortably. Bruce, how many seats?
Well, I think it's going to be closer than people are predicting, but I think it's going to be a big ask for Labor to pick up the 19 seats in one go.
OK, defeat. Bruce Hawker, Bronwyn Bishop, thank you so much for your time. This socialist says goodbye to you.
Great pleasure to be with you.
Good night, comrade.
Good night. Strength.